don't think this is an angle or a storyline, but what if John Cena comes on next week and says, I told you I was going to ruin wrestling. I got rid of R-Truth for you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new Wrestling Time Machine by Sportskeeda. I'm your host, Mac Davis. That's Bill Apter, and, of course, WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Teddy Long. Guys, good to see you again.
You too. You too. Both of you.
Thank you.
By the way, last time I had a rant about the John Cena thing. I just want to add a minute of a rant here that you people on the internet, when you were leaving your comments, I get it, that you thought I was on crack or tick crack, as Teddy calls it.
There were some comments with tick crack in it,
Yeah, there was. But
really?
Yeah. But the one thing I don't appreciate people doing is you have a comment where you'll knock me, which is fine, or say something nice, and you follow it with old fart or old man. There's no reason to do that. I'm an older man. Yes, my brain still functions, but why do you people do that? Why do you come out and just, oh, hey, old man,
Bill, let me stop you. You're feeding right into them. That's exactly what they want you to do. I wouldn't give a shit how many times they called me an old fart. Yeah, I'm an old fart, and my farts stink. I want you to know that too, okay?
But be respectful. It's not, I've been in the business.
They don't know how to be respectful. That's why they're coming after you. They don't know how to be respectful. So that's why I don't even listen to them.
Let's see if you people can come up with some respectful comments. That would be really nice.
By the way, it's not everybody that watches the show.
That's true.
Some of those that leave the comments down below, and they do get a little kind of personal about age and stuff like that.
They just take advantage of being able to say something to you, and they can't say it to your face.
Everybody,
I'll tell you what I do a lot of times is I'll respond. Every once in a while, I'll respond to one comment, and just so I can make a point. And then when I do, I leave and I never go back again.
I would appreciate, Mac, if you don't call me an old fart again.
I didn't. I just called you an old bag. I didn't say anything about a fart. Yeah, just an old airbag.
Be respectful, folks.
I did not, by the way. I did not say that.
I don't get no respect.
Let me talk about some of the real big news right now, and it's news that has affected so many fans that I have not seen something like this in a very long time. WWE released R-Truth from his contract, and he is no longer an employee of WWE. I did hear that he was offered a contract, just for those of you who are wondering, and the rumor is that it was a 60% cut of a contract in his money, and he said, no, thank you. That's about what it came down to. If that's the case, look, I wouldn't stick around if they're going to try to cut my pay that much either. And but here's the thing, Teddy, R-Truth, and I told you this the other night, there are very few characters of WWE that the fans absolutely adore and love. And I've told you, when you go back every time for a special appearance, to listen to the crowd, because the crowd pops when Teddy's there. He has that connection with the fans, and so did R-Truth. And I just can't understand why you let a talent like R-Truth, who was given so much for that company, despite his age, he's not an old fart. He is absolutely comical. He brings something to the show that no one else does.
Well, here's what you got to understand. This is the wrestling business, okay? This job here is not promised to you. You know what I mean? You can go in today and not have a job tomorrow. But my thing is this, with a guy like R-Truth, very entertaining, did everything that he was asked to do, there's always something that you can do behind stage, okay? Yes. Like right now, I'll mention this, why don't I have a job in NXT teaching promo classes?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
You tell me, and I'm not bragging on myself, but you tell me anybody can cut a better promo than me.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Right.
You're right.
So I'm just saying, it ain't about that. It's about who's in charge. You know what I mean? So WWE, like I said, I love them to death, but they're the only company that I know they'll fire you for not doing your job, and they'll also fire you for doing your job. And I'm living proof of that.
What if John Cena said that he's going to ruin wrestling? What if don't think this is an angle or a storyline, but what if John Cena comes on next week and says, I told you I was going to ruin wrestling. I got rid of R-Truth for you. Can you imagine the heat on John Cena? And eventually R-Truth comes back.
I tell you what I see happening is that you allowed yourself to go through so much negative media talk in the last few days after you let him go that it was a setup. Now, if that was the case, I would hope not, because that makes Triple H or whoever made that decision look like a total dumbass. If that's the case,
well, if it's old school wrestling, you're fooling the boys as well. If it's old school wrestling.
I've had that happen before too. I was involved with an angle with Kevin Sullivan, God rest his soul, where when before him and the Chris Benoit angle that they fooled the boys, that nobody knew about it but me, Kevin Sullivan, and Randy Anderson, the referee that was there. So if they're working the boys, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Why would you go through all that? You know what I mean? If you let the guy go, then release him and say, well, RC, we're going to have him now. He'll be in NXT and he'll be working with our younger talent, teaching them how to do this or teach them how to do that. There's always something that you can do, to help the company. So it's left up to the company if they want you to help them.
I don't think it's an angle. I really don't think it's an angle.
I don't think it's an angle either.
But just the loss of him, because he's one of the most entertaining people that they have. You always looked for him on the show, and you always sat up and just like, oh, this is so great that R-Truth is back in again. And he was just starting something with some angles with other people. And why him? It's just, is it an age thing? He's 56 years old.
Well, they use that too. They'll say that you're too old. That was the message that I got from AEW, that they weren't hiring any old people. I'm not looking for no job. I never called AEW asking them for no job. Okay, and then you sending me a message like that, and half of the guys over there old as me.
I'm just like you guys. I don't understand how you have such a talented individual in the back that is capable of so much and is really given a lot. I mean, it's not just the wrestling. It's cutting promos like Teddy was talking about. His ability to be able to read the audience that a lot of the younger stars still can't do. He can teach them to open their ears and listen to what's happening. To let somebody like R-Truth go, and then you hear about all this money. Oh, we made all this money during WrestleMania. We made all this money on this PLE and on this event. And then you're cutting people out like R-Truth.
But you know what they're doing also? They're starting to bring up people from NXT. So little by little, they're probably cutting people from the main roster to make room for
there's a lot of guys on that main roster that I see that they could have cut and not R-Truth.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.